Good evening, guys, and happy Saturday to all of your sunshiny faces. My goodness, guys, what a productive day we had today. We got so much stuff done, which was super awesome. Me and Jack did a lot of the work. Not a lot of the work, but we ended up working together a lot for today, and we're able to get a lot done. So originally I woke up and my dad actually took his work truck to get the oil change. So when I woke up, him and my mom had left already. That's actually sort of what woke me up, was them in the driveway. I could hear them outside the window. And they were leaving to go and take my dad's work truck to go and get the oil changed. And so I was up before they ended up coming back, which I think was around like 9-ish or something like that, before 10 o'clock. But I ended up getting up. I had my coffee. While I was having my coffee, actually, my dad was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go and work on some stuff that was upstairs. He had like a box of stuff that was like, you know, he wanted to sort of go through, like a little bin that was on his desk. And I was like, okay, you know what? Me and Jack are going to, we have like a shelving unit with some of our pantry things in there in the laundry room, and it was very disorganized. I was like, we need to go through some of this stuff, figure out what's in here, reorganize some of the things, because some of the stuff is kind of all over the place. So I ended up doing that, and me and Jack ended up getting that done, which was awesome, because that was a huge big thing that kind of needed to be taken care of. And again, we got all of it organized and, like I said, cleaned up and all of that, which is, again, amazing. So it took us not very long at all to get that done. That was maybe about like half an hour to an hour at most. Getting that done was really awesome. I was super happy about being able to do that. And also too, because like in the morning I needed to just, while I was having my coffee, kind of get my brain working a little bit. I was like, this is kind of an easier thing that I can just kind of, again, organize, go through real quick, while I can kind of get my, like I said, my brain set on the organization path that needed to be on for today, for all the other things that we kind of needed to get to and had planned and stuff. So we ended up, like I said, I ended up finishing that up with Jack, and I went upstairs. My dad was still kind of finishing up, going through his little bin of things. I helped him out too, because he had so many. He has, like, I have no clue, guys, like tons and tons of gift cards. Between him and my mother, I was like, you guys could live off of gift cards for the next like year. It's kind of crazy. So I ended up actually kind of organizing all his gift cards. He was just like, I have a bunch of them. He was going to put them back in the little bin, and I was like, let me go through these so that you can kind of like do like restaurants. He does one to like movie theaters, and then other just like general like merchandise stores, you know, to use them on and stuff like that, like you know, like Dick's Sporting Goods or Home Depot. And funny thing is that we like never go to Home Depot, like hardly at all. So the fact my dad has Home Depot gift cards, I find really funny, because we always shop at Menards. That's our hardware store most likely of choice, and then probably Ace, because we have one that's closer to us, and then like Home Depot is like the last option, just because it's not very close to us. And I don't honestly think we've ever went to a Lowe's. So like I said, Home Depot is like pretty far down on the list as far as like what grocery or but hardware stores we end up going to. But anyways, he's got a bunch of gift cards, like I said, to all kinds of different places. So I kind of organized those up for him a little bit. Then we ended up in the attic to get the last of the stuff kind of taken care of. I told you guys how we've been slowly working on it since we actually started. Honestly, it was two falls ago, I think, or autumn to I think it was in like maybe October, right after football season ended. Not last year, but the year before that, we like have been completely cleaning out our attic, taking everything out, reorganizing and putting everything in bins, you know, organizing all of the stuff that's up there. And it's been awesome. It's so easy to finally find things in the attic, to get to things, to be able to walk around in the attic for once, because we had stuff that was just like, we would have like, we used cardboard boxes. They wind up breaking because we stacked them up with stuff or put too much stuff that was too heavy in them, and then they'd wind up breaking, and we wind up with all the stuff all over the floor, and then something else would happen and something would get knocked out of stuff, and it was just, like I said, a huge mess. So it's taken us a little while, but really over the last year that my mom has been working on the weekends, like, you know, she started her job just about a year ago last last spring, like late winter. And so, you know, it's been tough that, you know, she works on the weekends and she was working night shifts. So it was really difficult because she couldn't, you know, like, we couldn't do a lot on the weekends as far as like doing things up in the attic because we'd make too much noise while she was trying to sleep. So it was, and also too, like, we wouldn't have her to have time to be able to like help us go through things like, okay, we're gonna bring down this box of stuff, can you know, help us go through the stuff that's in here, you know, because again, she'd be, you know, only have a couple hours on a Saturday and then be sleeping the whole rest of the day, and then go to work and then be sleeping all of Sunday, and then go to work and be sleeping all Monday. And so it was like we'd have like maybe a little bit of family time on Friday night to be able to do something together, and Saturday, like in the morning, we could squeeze in maybe getting a little bit done, but we normally wouldn't end up getting to very much. So like I said, that, you know, it was kind of tough just to be able to even do like those kind of things. So I feel like we kind of lacked a little bit in getting, you know, finishing it all up, whereas we probably could have. But I noticed we really slowed down right around at that point, because of it. So anyways, though, we ended up finally back up in the attic again, and I will say there's maybe 5 boxes of stuff that is not completely organized, but it is in boxes now. And those things need to be either put in boxes and start, like, we need to start its own box, or else we need to put some of the stuff that, like, I have a box of things that I know is in the attic that just needs to be distributed out to its proper boxes in the attic, or its proper places, you know, whatever it is. And so there is, like I said, a box of that kind of stuff up there, but it just needs to go to the right place. So as of right now, there's, like I said, maybe about 5, no more than 10 of those type of boxes up in the attic, which I know sounds like a lot, but our attic is huge and we have a lot of stuff stored up there already. So that's like, it's minuscule compared to what's actually up there right now. So, and also too, not all of them are huge, big boxes. Some of them are just like little, like totes, like shoebox size kind of things. And some of them are a little bit bigger, but you know, there's like a handful of things that still kind of need to be gone through, but everything is properly stored and everything is in its place. So what we finished today was doing our like what's it called, like our holiday kind of storage, decoration storage. So we finished that up today, and we brought down a box of my mom's like the St. Patrick's Day decorations, along with all of our knickknacks, which we put up in the attic over Christmas time, and we haven't brought them down. So we put it up before Christmas and they never ended up coming down with any of the stuff. So we brought it down at the same time with the St. Patrick's Day stuff. So my mom has all the St. Patrick's Day stuff out, all of the knickknacks, plus we also went through and got rid of, we're donating to a box and a bag full of stuff, along with Jack also had a bag of clothes to donate. So we've got 3 things to drop off at Goodwill tomorrow. So that's when we go to the grocery stores, which I also finished my grocery list tonight, guys, and got all that settled up, and I will have that for you guys in tomorrow's vlog. But I did wind up finishing that in the afternoon once we were done kind of with all the cleaning stuff. So anyways, we got all of the decorations though, all the boxes were organized. I still don't have all of my color coordinated totes like I wanted, which honestly was so helpful, because there were things that I was like, oh, like I found a couple of Valentine's Day things and I was like, these need to go in the Valentine's Day box. Instead of pulling out every single box and trying to go through them and trying to figure out what, I was just like, Valentine's Day is in the red box. I found the red box, I put the stuff in there. I didn't have to worry about trying to read the labels on everything and, you know, look through, you know, to try and figure out what was what. I was just like, I know that Valentine's Day is in the red box. Those are why I want that stuff color coordinated, because as of right now, that's the stuff that we probably are taking the boxes down and putting them back up in the attic the most frequently, because of the, you know, like holidays. So although we're only taking the Christmas stuff down once a year, there's multiple different things of different stuff that has to come down, you know, throughout the year. So we have Easter, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, 4th of July, Halloween, you know, all that kind of stuff. It has to come down at different times. And so just having all this stuff color coordinated, like I also too had a couple things that I found that were loose things for fall that I was like, oh, I got to put this in the fall box. And I was like, oh, that's the orange one with the red, or with the black lid. So I was able to just find that, slip that in there, got that stuff put away in the proper boxes. It's like I said, very, very easy, and I love having that stuff color coordinated. Now, as far as everything else go, we're fine with just using cheap black totes to organize it. That's how everything else is up there. Those are the kind that they have at Menards for the cheapest, so we just use those. They're not huge totes, but it's nice because that way we don't overfill them too much either. And, you know, we can, like I said, fit everything in there for the most part. And if we have too much, like an overflow of something, we'll start a second box for it then. Or if it's going to get too heavy, like we do have like a couple boxes of books just because we don't want them to be too heavy, and stacking them on top of each other will wind up, eventually they'll wind up breaking. So, like I said, that's what we ended up, kind of finishing up today. We brought all the knickknack stuff down. We did have like 1.5 boxes worth of knickknack stuff that currently we're not having out, but it might be things that get rotated in at a different point. And then we ended up, like I said, getting all of the other like holiday stuff organized, although like I said, I don't have all the totes for those. And then after that, again, there was a little bit other like kind of polishing some stuff up, putting some stuff in certain places, getting, like I said, some of the bins and boxes and all that kind of stuff moved around up there. And we got that done. Then after that, my dad ended up, I think, went to go work out outside. He was also doing a little of like checkbook stuff, you know, banking stuff, and was working on that a little bit, and then ended up going to work out outside. While he was doing that, me and Jack were like, you know, I was kind of like, okay, like, we wanted to kind of be done around 4:30, I think, because we were going to watch the UFC fights. Those started at 4:30. So, and honestly, we got all that stuff done, which again wasn't too much that really needed to still be finished, but between getting the pantry organized and the attic, it was only like 1 o'clock maybe or something like that, and I was like, we still have like several hours. It was maybe even around noon, and I was like, we still have like several hours before, you know, like I was like, I can definitely get to something without just sitting around and being unproductive. So I was like, you know what, if we're almost done with the attic, what we can start doing is start, you know, our next step in our upstairs remodel that we need to do is that we need to start looking at getting the furniture and all the stuff out of the upstairs, because in order to do the reno that we're planning on doing upstairs, we need to move all the furniture, and it's going to be a little chaotic, but we'll make it work. But one of the big things is that right now too, there's a lot of other loose things that are upstairs that probably have a home in the attic, or if they don't currently, like Jack's gonna be moving downstairs into my mom's office, and so he has like some posters and some things that he wants to hang up on the wall, and you know, just other like, you know, again, knickknacks and things like that he has in his room, that, you know, books even and stuff like that. But right now we can't put those anywhere because, you know, we're not gonna have enough room to store that stuff, so we're gonna have to temporarily put it in like a bin or two and put it, that kind of stuff, in the attic. So what we were working on today was, one of the big things was actually all of the electronics. We have got we've been playing video games since we had a PS2, and have had multiple consoles since, and have lots of games for them. And so we needed to get, we had a Wii, a Wii U, we all have Nintendo Switches. We had Jack and Matthew had Nintendo DS's. There's I'm trying to think what else. We had Xbox Ones, Xbox 360s, a PS3, PS4. We have a lot of different like consoles. And so one of the big things, and we have lots of accessories for all that stuff too. One of the big things was that we had one bin of like electronic kind of stuff, and it was also just loose cords up in the attic, like phone chargers and all kinds of other stuff, but it was in a bin. It was all, like I said, organized, not the bin wasn't organized, but all the stuff that we knew was electronic stuff that was for mainly, again, kind of, you know, what we assumed was video game stuff and things like that, were all in a bin. And then Jack had another 2, like, not huge, but like kind of little totes, and then also 2 toy box full of more video games and consoles and accessories and all this other kind of stuff. And I was like, you know what, let's try and get all this stuff organized. So it was a huge undertaking, but I didn't realize how much of the stuff that was upstairs was actually that and could go into these bins. Like, there was, like I said, like a PS2 that was floating around on the floor upstairs. There was a PS3 that was floating around on the floor upstairs. There was video games along with books and CDs and like all kinds of other stuff, like with little user manual thingies and stuff like that. So I matched everything up. I got everything put into the right cases. All of the, it was, like I said, it was so long. It took me forever. If there wasn't music going upstairs, I probably would have eventually lost it a little bit, because it was a lot of like very focused work in order to get a lot of that stuff done. But me and Jack both ended up powering through it, and Jack also too wasn't feeling very good, but he ended up, he was more motivated kind of than I was, because when I was downstairs I was like, okay, like, you know, I don't really know what else to do, like I don't know what we can work on right now, you know, because my dad was like, well, I'm gonna go and, you know, do, like he said, you know, the checkbook or whatever he was doing, and you know, my mom was still like putting up decorations and things like that, and I'm like, I don't know what else I can do right now. And Jack's like, well, what can I do to help? And I was like, you almost never say that. Like, you know, that he just comes out right and says it. And I think he's really motivated because he really wants to have his own room and really wants to decorate it how he wants, and puts up his own posters and has his own like decorations and, you know, like that kind of stuff, because he's always shared a room with Matthew. So I think he's really motivated to do that. And so, and like he's been talking about it a lot too. He's like, well, I really want to get this poster. He's like, but I don't know if I'm gonna have enough room to have all these posters hanging up in my room, and there's not that much, you know, like shelf space. And you know, so he's just like talking about it a lot. And so we noticed that, and like I'm like, Jack kind of wants, you know, like to get moving on this. So he was super motivated to get this stuff done today. And I kid you not, guys, this was probably, I didn't understand how much of this stuff took up, like, and was just floating around in the room upstairs in different places. And again, too, there's still other things that have to be organized, cleaned, and stuff like that upstairs. But this was probably, if I would have looked at this as another day's project, I would have just been like, this is so overwhelming. But I think because I started with little projects to kind of get myself moving, it actually went by very quickly. And Jack too was very helpful with the whole thing. And like I said, I don't know why, but it just, like, looking at it now, I'm like, that was a huge project. Like that, like the amount of stuff that had to be organized and meticulously gone through and all this kind of stuff. I was like, again, I'm thinking about it now, I'm like, I don't want to do that. But I was like, but I just did it and it was not that difficult. Like, I can't figure out why that was. Like, it wasn't as difficult as my brain is even now thinking that it is. And so just knowing that that got done and all the stuff that is now organized and cleaned in that space, I don't have to worry so much about this anymore. And realizing that, like, there's kind of 4 sections in the attic, or upstairs in the bedroom, kind of, because it's just a bonus room upstairs. But there's Matthew's kind of space. He has stuff that he has to go through. He's not here right now, so that's all on him to take care of. There's the kind of like living room, not living room, but like family room kind of space upstairs. Really, Matthew and Jack's more for like family room. It's got the couch, Jack's dresser, and the TV. Again, there was stuff underneath the dresser and a couple little things around it. For the most part, all that was organized and cleaned up because we put it all into the bins of the electronic stuff that it needed to go in. Then there's Jack's bedroom space, which has a lot of clutter. And again, too, there's other things that's up there. Like I said, his books, his other like knickknacks, and you know, that kind of stuff that still needs to be gone through. But also too, there was the toy box that was over there that had all kinds of more electronic things and video games and all this stuff. And I was like, again, thinking about it now, I'm like, that's huge, and I wouldn't want to have to do that again. But again, I was in the right headspace, I was motivated. Like I said, just doing those other little projects that didn't take me too long, it helped me tackle this big project that in another day I would have probably been like, somebody else do it, because I don't want to think about it. But like I said, it was awesome to actually like have this all done. And also too, the other thing that I noticed was I was kind of also picking some things up as I was going through Jack's room. I was like, oh, here's a loose picture on the floor. Oh, here's like this Christmas thing that was, you know, like on the floor. And I was like, I just went and put it straight in the attic where it belonged, in the tote. And that is like the most rewarding feeling, knowing that like, oh, here's a thing and it has a place, like, you know. And it was just, the problem was is that it was so hard to get to some of the stuff in the attic, but I know where everything is now. I know, you know, like I said, where everything is stored. There's a home for everything. I don't have to be like, oh my gosh, I don't know where we're gonna store this, I don't know where we're gonna put this, whatever it is. It was so easy to just do that today. And in the future too, if we come across other stuff that we're like, oh, this is for the Wii, you know, this is for, you know, the Xbox, whatever, we can put that in the bin that we already made for it, that, you know, like I said, we went through and did the whole thing with. So having all that done is just like a huge stress relief. And now I'm like, honestly, in a week or 2 weeks at most, I'm thinking we can probably get Jack moved downstairs into my mom's office, because that's how, like, I'm looking at, again, what's left up there, and I'm like, this is really not that overwhelming anymore. Like, this could definitely be done pretty quickly because of how quick we were able to move through things today. And just, again, too, everybody working and everybody getting their things done. Like I said, too, my mom getting all of the decorations that were stored up in the attic all put through, you know, put out and, you know, displayed in the living room. And my dad, again, taking care of some of his stuff, helping in the attic with the organization and stuff like that as well. And then Jack helping go through all his stuff also. You know, like I said, everybody responsible for their pieces just helped move the whole day along so well today. And like I said, I'm looking at, you know, like, I'm trying to figure out timetable. And it's funny because once we were kind of like, I think finished with the attic, that was when I started going, we're still like so far out from, like, you know, I was feeling really discouraged actually, and was like, I just feel like we're so far out from actually being done with some of this stuff. Like, I was like, Jack's bedroom still has to be cleaned and organized and things have to be put away. I was like, and this is just going to take forever. I was like, we're looking at months and months, you know, before things are finally moving along, because it just felt like the pace was very slow. But then all of a sudden we get this big chunk of stuff done today, and like I said, it doesn't sound like it's a lot, but then while I'm going through this stuff, I'm like, there's not that much left. Like, it was the same thing with the attic. I saw it, you know, just recently before we had actually went back in there to finish up kind of the organization. I was like, there's still so much stuff up here. I was like, this is so overwhelming. There's so much, like, there's too much that's left. You know, I was like, this is still going to take us weeks and weeks and weeks to get done. And then all of a sudden I'm like, wait a second, like, you know, we pretty much are done with the attic now. And it took us, you know, again, we really kind of did more, not last weekend, but the weekend before that. And then it really just took us this weekend and we're done. And, you know, like, kind of for the most part. Again, there's still maybe some fine tuning, but we could start getting the furniture temporarily, you know, the temporary storage of that furniture that I told you guys we're going to have to move in there for the time being. And now we're, you know, like, to that point. Whereas, again, like 2 weeks ago, I was like, this is still going to take us another month or 2 months to get to this, you know, the point we're at now. And the same thing too upstairs. I was like, if we can move at this pace again, and, you know, the weekend still isn't even over, we can still get more stuff done tomorrow. There is still, we have one little tote of loose cords that we have to go through to figure out where they belong for sure, because some of them have like even extension cords in them and like all that kind of stuff. It's just, like I said, a huge, like, massive pile of stuff that was upstairs that was all just kind of different electronics and things like that. But just getting through that already, I'm like, you know, again, feeling more motivated and also realizing it's not going to be as difficult as I'm thinking that it's going to be. I was, like I said, very discouraged, and then Jack kind of, I don't know, like, injecting that little bit of life, you know, kind of back into the whole situation and being like, how can I help? Like, you know, what can I do? And I was like, well, why don't we move on to your bedroom? Like, you know, that's kind of, I think, the point maybe where we're at right now. And again, just moving on to that, I was like, wow, this is actually, you know, like, not as difficult and not as overwhelming. Again, too, having people help also too is another, you know, really helpful thing. But also being motivated to want to do it too, not just being like, I feel like I'm pulling teeth to get somebody to, like, you know, try and help. Like, Jack was like, oh yeah, like, what can I do? Like, okay, let's go through this. Like, you know, he didn't want to put his clothes away today. He's like, I have everything sorted out, but I still have to fold everything and put it away. Like, he's like, I just don't feel like doing that right now. And I was like, okay, well, let's move on to the electronic stuff. So I kind of pulled him away from that he didn't want to do. And, you know, we worked on this, and he was really motivated to get this part of it done. So, like I said, I think too that him, you know, seeing that, like, this didn't take that long, this wasn't that difficult, we were able to get a ton of stuff done, you know, kind of just in one day, and only 2 in a few hours. Like, all the other stuff that we got done today, I'm like, yeah, I keep forgetting we got the laundry pantry cleared out and, you know, reorganized. I was like, I keep thinking that was yesterday, because that's what it feels like to me, because it's been such a long productive day, which I guess is a good thing. But like I said, I'm just super happy with how everything turned out today as far as the cleaning and organizing and all that stuff goes. And again, it motivates me to keep me going as well. So Jack's gonna have to, like, we're gonna try and get to some stuff tomorrow, but we're also going out for Matthew's birthday dinner because his birthday was yesterday, on Friday. And so we're gonna do that, and he'll be home for part of the evening tomorrow. We're not gonna have a ton of time tomorrow along with grocery shopping, but I will have that for you guys, like I said, in tomorrow's vlog, because once we were done, like I said, around 4 o'clock we stopped, or around, I think, 5 o'clock, we stopped and went downstairs and we had dinner. And like I said, I finished up my grocery list, and we're gonna go there tomorrow. And I'll have that haul, like I said, for you guys in tomorrow's vlog. But we're still gonna have, you know, like I said, a little bit of time in between after the grocery shopping and before Matthew gets back, where, like I said, that box of the loose cord still that has to be gone through, and kind of that electronic stuff that still needs a little bit of touching up. And then again, we can move into you know, the rest of the stuff in Jack's room if we want to do that tomorrow. If not, that can always wait till next weekend, and we can try and do that on Saturday and Sunday. But the good thing is that Matthew will be back next weekend, because I think he's going to be back for part of spring break. And so going through his stuff will probably be more the focus next week and next weekend, because like a lot of his stuff, it's kind of the same situation. Like the thing that Jack was, I think, really overwhelmed with was that he didn't realize too, he's like, well, I have like sheets in like a little, like he has a little like fabric, those little fabric like cubes kind of, and he had like extra, and he's like, I don't know what to do with those, like, do I keep those under my bed? And I was like, we have a box of like bedding that's already in the attic, like why don't we put that in there, and then you don't have to keep that stored underneath your bed anymore. Some of that kind of stuff he didn't realize. He was also like, you know, oh, I have like, you know, the Wii, you know, I need stored somewhere. He's like, because it's just, you know, floating around on the floor and we don't use it enough to have it out permanently. And so I was like, okay, well, you know, we have a bin full of, you know, our electronics in the attic. And he's like, oh, well, like I didn't know that. And I was like, okay, like, so I think Matthew's probably in a little bit of the same situation. So I want to kind of help him through some of that too. Like, okay, like if you want this, like we can put this in this bin because we have this already up there, you know, again, whatever that kind of stuff is. Like I know he has like some of his football trophies are up there as well. Like, so those kind of things, he might want to get some of that stuff like stored away as well. You know, but again, he might be like, I don't know what to do with this, you know, whatever it is. But like, you know, again, I can help him with that kind of stuff because he probably doesn't really know what we have already in the attic that can just be combined with the stuff that he might have. Again, things that he wants to keep or wants to have stored or whatever it is. So again, long story short, lots of productivity today. I am super happy with how everything ended up turning out. And again, furniture possibly being moved out of there within the next week or two would be amazing. Like I said, at, you know, midpoint today, I was completely convinced that this is going to take us forever and it's going to be years out before we actually finally all the rooms were moved around. But there was a lot of motivation from everybody today, which was awesome, and a lot of things getting done, which I think is also really great. So again, too, me and Jack, because he is home during the week, we can still kind of work on stuff a little bit throughout the week as well, and make it not so overwhelming. Like he has like a little shelving unit. I was like, we could just take like 1 or 2 shelves maybe a day and just kind of go through it. And it only has 3 shelves on it. So, you know, that, and he has like a little table, and he has like another, like the actual like hanging shelves. He has a little like bookshelf kind of thing, and then he has like 2 hanging shelves, but some of my dad's stuff's on there too. So I was like, okay, well, like we can just break that up. Your stuff you go through, dad's stuff we'll give to him, let him go through that stuff he's gonna have to figure out where to store, you know, again, that kind of stuff. We're gonna wind up, you know, like I said, maybe moving on to that throughout the week and have maybe most of Jack's stuff actually taken care of, and then be done with Matthew's stuff over the weekend, and then be able to start moving furniture this week, or like next week, you know, the start of next week, and not even have to wait till the weekend following or whatever, which would be really awesome. So like I said, I don't entirely know the timetable. It might still take longer than I'm actually thinking, but you know, again, I was pleasantly surprised at today at, you know, the amount of time that we were able to spend and get as much done as we did. So anyways, though, guys, I will see you all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye, guys.